Hi, Lechika. Hi, VJ. Hi, Mujib. I am good. How are you guys? Okay, we're gonna wait for a couple of people and then we are going to start the live talk show. Hi, Tamin Sylvan. How are you? Okay, is my voice clear? Let me know if my voice is not clear. Hi, Miss Terry. How are you? Alright, awesome. Okay, if you guys do hear any like background sounds, just excuse me for that because my house is not fully closed. So just bear with me. Hopefully you can actually understand what I say and not get distracted by what's happening in the background. Hi Echo, how are you? Hi Ravi. Just gonna wait for a few more people and then we are going to start in 2 minutes. Okay, shall we start? Hi Tila, how are you? Okay, hi everyone. Okay, I'm gonna be very casual today. Casual, slightly formal. Uh, Thank you, Echo. So my name is Melvin Kaur, as you all know. And welcome to my lockdown live TV show only on Harryflix. So in tonight's episode, I will be sharing with you my best moments and also experiences as a queen, and a little bit about um, who I was before that made me who I am today. Alright, so if you have any questions, which I know all of you guys do, so just bear with me. There is a Q&A segment at the end of this talk show. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, so walking down to the memory lane, I was born in Sagamat, Johor. Very small district, but it was a peaceful place to live in. It's still a peaceful place. It's very quiet. Everyone is just focusing on their own life. There's no like the hectic of like being on social media. Being somebody that you are not. So that was the beauty of where I was born. I didn't really live much at that area, but I did have some good memories. So my grandmother used to live there, and we used to have like monthly based visits. Especially during the school holidays. And I was born on March 29, 1994, and I'm 26 years old this year. Hey. And yeah, growing up as a kid, I was very shy, very quiet, but I was very close with my mother. So she would she would always use me as her personal Barbie doll. So I'm pretty sure most of you are very familiar with being, your mom's Barbie doll, your sister's Barbie doll when you were a kid. I think even now I still am. So she would create like different kinds of outfit. It can be from traditional to casual. Even my school uniform was custom made, to a certain fabric that I felt comfortable in. And but it was the right color to the school uniform. So why not, right? So I remember uh my pinafore, my primary school pinafore, was almost to like an Italian crepe fabric. So imagine like the level of high class I was already living in. So pretty much that's how my love and interest for fashion sort of began. That's where I kind of grew up with. So that's the atmosphere that I was in, belonging with. So my family is very fun to be with. They're very entertaining. My dad, he's very loud. He likes to crack jokes. My mom, she loves to cook. She likes to sew a lot of clothes. So she sew most of her own clothes, especially like Punjabi suits. So she kind of got that from her mother as well. So it's a family of tailors and seamstresses. Um, then my sister, who was one of my inspiration as I was growing up. She always had the love and strong passion for dancing. She started quite a very young age. So when she finally find that platform where she can actually how you say, showcase more on what she is like capable of, and yeah. So as I was growing up as well, I think when I was most probably I don't know, 4, 6, like that. So I started following her. I'm like, oh, okay, if she can do it, she looks great doing that on stage. So why can't I do that? So when I started following her, then I discovered that I actually belong on the stage. So I belong into this entertainment line. Okay. So moving on from that, when I went up to primary school. My primary and secondary school was basically just like neighbors. So my primary school was downhill. My secondary school was just the upper hill. So I went to Sekolah Kebangsaan Senai and Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Senai. So yeah, like I said, it's like I started from the bottom and then I went to the top. Um, in primary school, I was not very much popular. I was this kid who was always like bullied for having pigtails. I'm pretty sure most of you had pigtails. Yeah, I was bullied for even having like a 50-cent coin. Back then, having a 50-cent coin was a very big deal. With 50 cent, you can basically buy the most high-end meal from the canteen. So yeah, and I became a librarian. It wasn't my very much interest, but my teacher, my I think it's my science teacher. Yeah, my science teacher. She kind of saw something like a potential in me. She's like, why don't you try being a librarian. I know it seems boring, but maybe that's something that you can actually run away from being bullied. I'm like, okay, so why not? So being a librarian, so that's where I started reading. So I never used to read, so that's when I just picked up a book from a library and just started reading. And there was like books from different levels, that wasn't even up to my standards. So I just like, I was very curious, so I just kept reading. And there were books that were sent from the secondary school as well, so I'm like, oh, okay. So I think it was a mm, was it okay, I think I remember the title. It was Sahijau Warna Daun. Yes, so it was like a green book, green book, and it had like Malay Malay poems, like saja, syair. I think there were like short stories as well. So I started reading that. So then, as I went up to my secondary school, things got even more different. I did not expect to be bullied again, as usual. I was um, bullied for quite a number of reasons, but the major one was for my skin color. So I don't really understand why there was this like how you say, there was this criticism against a girl who is just like tan skin. So but being in school, you have a lot of sports activities, so there was no sunblock. I didn't know about sunblock in my time, even though there was. But so yeah, I was, my skin color was like kind of getting a bit darker then, but I just like, never mind. If they want to make fun of me, then so be it. So in my form 1, um I was just pretty much a normal student. I had no rank whatsoever. So I just figured like, hey, it's the second level of my third level of my education. So just do your best and hope for something good in return. So little that I expected, when I was almost moving to form 2, I was selected as a prefect. So that was something very new for me. I never thought that I would be selected as a prefect, seeing that um, I wasn't good enough for anybody. I wasn't even good enough for myself. I didn't expect it, like, like a person like me who just never ever speaks her mind, who is always crying because someone said something to her. And just because I wasn't able to accept that, I just go home and just cry. And that was my only solution. So when I became a prefect, I sort of explored the other side of me. I became angry. So I became like a Hulk. I was angry at almost every single thing. Not I did, but other students had done. And we used to have this logbook. So for a pengawas, it's very important that we have this logbook. So in this book, if your name is in my book, then pretty much you should know what to expect when it's already there. So there would be like, it'll be categories, so it'll be your name, what class you're from, and what you did wrong. And then I signed it. So almost every week on Friday, this book gets sent to the discipline teacher, and he actually goes through it, and you're gonna have to wait for your present on Monday in front of every kids in the school. You can call me a mean girl. because I was kind of a mean girl. I'm pretty sure there was a reason behind why I was so angry, So I figured that, because I was picked on before, so I just decided that, this was like a release for me, It's like, hey, I'm gonna get you back. So, but was it worth it? I have to say no. It was not worth it. I mean, because they have done it to me, and if they can move on, then why can't I, right? So why should I like hold on to it and then just like, um, I get them back instead? It's just a waste of time. So if I'm gonna do that, then I'm just gonna escalate things to a different level, and they are gonna come back at me, and they're gonna do things to me which are like worse. So instead of saying yes to bullying, I said no to bullying. So I stopped it. Um, so pretty much my secondary school life taught me a lot of things. I discovered my creative side as well. I joined the drama club, and which had a lot of drama as well. So um it was fun because it was like a good experience. I never actually had to be in a play before, and I remember it was a play about flowers. I was Rose, so it was fun, where the flowers would be like so nice in the beginning, and then in the end, we are just like zombies coming out to get the humans, for what they've done to us, not appreciating Mother Nature in a way. So I think that was a pretty good message that we did. So yeah. Uh, moving on. So that was my education. Um, as I moved on to the highest level of my education, I I was still very unsure of my career path. So I had to ask my sister, like, what do you think is best for me? Because I was sorry. So I was very clueless. I didn't know what should I do. So at that point of time, I kind of had the interest for cooking as well, and I didn't only picked up like traditional cooking, but I also did a lot of Western cooking. So I would just look up a recipe online, I would just open a cookbook and just start cooking by myself. And then I was stuck in the fashion world as well. I had a lot of magazine cutouts. I used to play a lot of dress up games. So it was just very confusing for me. It's like I didn't know that you can actually have a career in fashion. I was that naive. I was very Yeah, I was very naive at that point. Um, but yeah, my sister guided me through it, and she's like, I think I see you more into the fashion industry side, so why not you go into that pathway? So I'm like, okay. So I took on diploma in fashion design and marketing at MDIS Singapore. It was a very scary moment because it was the first time I was going overseas. Being going to Singapore was actually considered going overseas already, and it was my very first time. And but my sister was with me throughout the entire thing. But on the first day, which was the orientation day, um, it was like exciting. I was like, okay, I was looking at the modules, what we are going to learn. So I did not expect that you can actually learn so much in fashion. So but yeah, as the journey went on, I studied, and I did pass, and I was so happy. So I did get good grades, and then I decided that why not I just progress up to degree immediately. So I don't stop. I just kept going. So I continued studying fashion designing. Yeah, I told you background sounds. Later on you'll be seeing like Spider-Man. Yeah. So yeah, I continued my education and I went to degree in fashion designing. It was more intense because almost every month we would get assignments, and the assignments was our examinations. That was our only examination. So there was a lot of cost in making the assignments. You have to produce garments like high-end level garments, and not just like a t-shirt or anything. No, but they do teach you like from the very basic, how to sew, how to draw, and they actually help you find the kind of designer that you are supposed to be. So that took a long time for me as well, because I was not only learning about fashion, but I was learning about myself, what kind of a person I was. So when I first began in diploma, I was passive aggressive. I was very afraid of other students. I was even afraid to talk to them. So I was like, if I'm gonna talk to this girl, if I'm gonna talk to this guy, I think they're so much better, they're so much clever than me, so might as well I just do my own thing. But slowly, when I started opening up to other people, other students, and even to the lecturers, I discovered this this like a total different persona of me. Like I didn't know I could be wild. I didn't know I could be loud. I didn't know I could, I was capable of so many things. All this while, perhaps like whatever I have been through, maybe it was meant to be, and just today it has actually put me into a very big blender, and I bloomed into someone so much more powerful than before. So as I was graduating at my final fashion show, so we get to have our own fashion show, and it was awesome. It was the most awesome experience ever, because for a designer to see their clothing line worn by a model, and they are walking down that ramp, with your design, is just mind-blowing. And everyone is watching, everyone is taking photos, everyone is asking. So it was just like and it was held at the Singapore, I think it was the Singapore Art Center or something. Or was it like a museum? I don't really quite remember. But it was in conjunction with one of the biggest fashion week in Singapore, called Digital Fashion Week. And it was amazing. So our designs were actually featured on Digital Fashion Week, and it's still there until today. So every time when I look at it, it's just like, okay, that's like the most wonderful achievement I have done. Not only I have discovered myself as a designer, but I found me. I found my true self. So that was a lot to digest, but I soaked everything up. I picked myself and I just kept going. So after that, I wanted to get a job. So obviously the next step is get a job. And my first uh, my first company that I ever worked for was actually one of the biggest one of the biggest businesses in KL. I'm gonna send a very big shout out to them because they have actually pushed me to a different level as well. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't actually had the chance to meet a lot of local Malaysian celebrities. I dressed most of them up, and it's crazy. It was just a crazy experience. So I'm giving a shout out to Rent Address KL. You know, you guys are amazing, and Shwen, you are doing such an amazing job, and you're such an amazing woman. So, Rent a Dress KL, they do have their own Instagram, so please do check them out. They have really beautiful evening gowns, and they not only have long gowns, they have short dresses as well for every occasion and every sizes. They have a showroom at PJ Pataling Jaya. Yeah, Filio Damansara. Yeah. So it's a very beautiful showroom. So when I first started working with them, I went in as a senior intern for a year, and yes, it was very interesting, you know, to work in a retail line. So it was a showroom and a retail as well. So I was exposed to something that I wasn't really familiar with. So being in a retail line for the first time was just amazing. You know, I was mentored by a very wonderful woman, and she actually hold my hand step by step. You know, she taught me everything. It's like, you need to do this, you need to do this. If this goes down, what are you going to do? So there was a lot of SOP, and that was the very first time I learned about SOP. So there was too much. So I was a senior intern at the age of 22. Yeah, I was a senior intern at 22. So before I actually went to KL to become an intern, I had a lot of like feedbacks, like, you know, you are a 22-year-old woman, why are you going to do internship? You know, I'm like, you know, if it's something that it's going to give me a lot of experience, you know, if it's going to help me create a very different atmosphere, you know, I mean, being in a retail line, you you never know where it's going to take you. So I just kept like positive vibes, and I just went for it now. And I'm very grateful for what I've actually learned from them. So I was with Rent a Dress for almost 2 years. I was promoted to a showroom queen. So that was my first time I became a queen. So I became a showroom queen, and was, you know, I was pretty much training the new interns, and it was just amazing, you know, because I was them before, and then now I am like on a different level, on a different scale. So the Chapman is back. So yeah, there was a lot of experience to gain, and I attended the KL Fashion Week for the first time in if I'm not wrong, that was like 20, was it like 2016 or 2017? I was there and with my fellow coworker, and it was just amazing. You know, we had the VIP seat, and it was just like, oh my god, like it was so surreal. So, and I even get to, like I said, I even get to dress up celebrities, and I literally got to know them from a very personal point of view, and they are just very friendly people. They are normal people like us, you know. So I was I was going at a very frequent rate where I would see them almost like every week. You know, they would come to me for an event, and they'd be like, "Hey Mel, I'm going for this show. I need a dress, so, you know, hook me up." So there's a lot of keywords that we used to use. So KL basically had a different lifestyle. So, but I adapted to that, and yeah. So that was my experience with Rent a Dress, pretty much, and I moved on to a second job where I got a better offer. It was with an Australian company, so I had to manage two brands from Australia, which was, I would say, it was going up to another level again. You know, so as my journey goes, it's like everything, it's just like, you know, it keeps going up, 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 you know. So it's like, was it going harder? Yes. But was it challenging? Definitely. Was it worth it? Of course. Because each time that we go through, like whatever that we go through in our pathway, there is something for us to learn from. There is something that, certain things that we should let go, and there's times where we lose someone to gain someone. So there's a lot of learning experience throughout this. There's a lot of give and take that you have to do. So my second job was a lot more harder, and but as I keep moving on, I came back to JB and I had another offer. I worked with Lululemon in JPO. So that was like in 2018. And then I had another offer where I worked at Routine by Soon. So it's quite a popular cafe. It's located in JB Town. I think the name of the mall is RNF Mall. Yep. So my working experience is like various. So I worked from fashion retail, and then I moved into more deeper end of visual merchandising, and then I moved to F&B. So there was like different experiences for me. So while I was working in JPO, I came across this post by Harry Internationals, and I was like, okay, I don't know what this is about, but I do know that it's a pageant. I've been watching a lot of Miss Universe, Miss USA, you can name it. I've watched a lot, but I just never felt that I am going to be that person one day. So I was very insecure. If you ask me, I was very very insecure. So I saw this post in April, 2018, and was it 2018 or 19? I think 19, yeah. And I couldn't go. One, because I was very insecure about myself. Two, I was working, so I felt like my commitment at work was actually much higher than going into a pageant. And number three, it was like I really don't know what to expect if I go into this competition. And four, it's because of my over researching on Google. So I like to research about everything, and I just basically did like a general research about pageant. There's a lot of commitment, responsibility, after you win, and even when you are in the competition, there is already task for you to do, so there is a lot of responsibility for you. So but I was afraid of the timeline. I was afraid that it was going to affect my schedule, so I was like, I would just stay committed to one. So but then I saw that post again. It was somewhere in June? Yeah, it was somewhere in June 2019. The same post, and Harry International opened up the second grand auditions for Miss, Mrs. and Mr. Hit Johor 2019. So I'm like, okay, this is like, I think it's calling out to me, that I should try something that I've never done before. So I was like, okay, just go ahead, don't expect anything in return. Just go, try your best, and come back. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So on the first day when I went, no, actually I signed up for the audition, and I was called for the one-to-one audition as well. So I went. So on my very first day of the audition, I remember it was at Forest City. The school. Yeah, forgot the name of the school. Was it Saint Mary? Yeah. And it was very, very nerve-wracking because I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't know how I was supposed to dress. So I just went with my best look and I just went for the audition. So there, um, I met with other contestants as well. They're from some of them from Miss category, some of them from the Miss category, and we were introduced to the first batch that actually auditioned, and most of them were like from KL. They were like from different parts of Malaysia, and we came together as one to actually did like a final round for the selection. So it was pretty much like exciting, and then it was very scary. St. Mary, yes, correct, thank you. St. Mary International School. Yeah, so it was very, very unexpected that I was selected as one of the finalists, and I was like having mixed feelings. I didn't know if I should be. Can you speak Tamil? I am so sorry, but I cannot speak Tamil. Um, I can try Malayu, but if that's okay with you. So yeah, going back to my story, I was having mixed feelings. I had, my very first sash. This was my very first sash that I got. Being a finalist and having this around my shoulder, it was like I immediately felt the amount of pride and the amount of um, commitment that I needed to give in order to be fully into this competition. I wasn't treating it like, it was something like, I'm just gonna like, whatever, just close one eye, you get through it, that's it. No, I literally took it from A to Z. The very minute that I got the sash, I told my mom, and she was just so excited. And I took a photo, I took a selfie, I sent to my family, and everyone was like, yay! So, but not to forget, on that very first day as well, I met an angel, and his name is Angel as well, and he has one of the biggest modeling agencies called Smash Management. And I would say I'm like truly blessed to actually go for that audition and meet someone like him. And he was just so astonished, and we did took a photo together, and then he said to me, I will see you again. So I was just like, okay. So um, after that day, I worked really hard with this pageant. I quit my job, and I was gonna give my 100% in this. I wasn't gonna play around with this. If this is something that I want, something that is made for me, then I'm gonna do it with all my heart, all my energy, and all I have. So I started watching a lot of YouTube. I was going, like, practicing my catwalks, pretty much like I was getting back, going into that fashion diva zone that I had. And I just kept doing a lot of homework and a lot of asking, and each and every time that we had a task to do, I was very full on with it. I wasn't like missing out on any. I made sure that I did every task that was given to us. So it was beautiful. It was a very beautiful journey, and I'm very thankful to Harry International for actually giving me this great opportunity to work with you and to actually carry this sash with lots of pride. So I still cherish this very first sash that I got, and slowly when I worked my way and it came to the finale, I did not expect it to be crowned as the champion for Miss Hit Johor 2019, and I was just shaking. In my head, I was like, is this really happening? Do I really have this on my head? What is this? Why is this on my head? So then I sort of figure out, everyone was so happy for me. The organizer, everyone backstage, all the contestants, they were like, yay, you deserve it. So I felt like, this is a very big pathway that I've actually chosen, and I'm not gonna let this go. So I not only had one sash that day, but I got two, and it is great. So I got a best catwalk, and also I got a champion. So all in all, from Harry International, I have three, and I'm still carrying this with pride. So I'm never going to stop carrying this sash with a lot of pride, and also, you know, a lot of happiness, and I will never stop sharing this experience to all the newcomers out there. So it's just one small advice is that, whatever you think that you are not capable of, if you don't take the risk, if you don't put one foot in first, you never know what good it's going to come towards you. Until you don't make that leap, you don't know what you're going to actually be blessed with. So when I went for that audition, I didn't know I would come back with 3 sashes and a crown and a 1-year contract with Harry International, being their Queen of Johor, the very first Queen of Johor. So as the following month, I was selected into another pageant called Miss Nightingale Johor 2019. So it was the very next month we had to start in the competition. So we had our introduction round, and it was more of a team pageant, I would say. So each female contestant have to bring their own team of makeup artists and designer as well. So like every one of the group members, they are going to be awarded. So it's not just that, it's a competition for the model, but it's for all 3 of them. So in that pageant, it was much more different experience, and least I expected that, almost each pageant that you go, there's going to be a different outcome from it. So with Miss Nightingale, we did a lot of outings. We had interactions with the handicapped, I think the handicap center at Saling, and I actually have been going there for as long as I know. And me and my family, we have visited a lot of like this handicap facilities, and we've actually did some donations. We met with the patients, and when it was Miss Nightingale, it was just very emotional because we not only came in contact with the children, the adults, but also the elderly. So it was sad, but at the same time, it's nice to see that someone out there is building houses for people like them, to actually live comfortably instead of on the streets. So each outing that we went through was very much different, and we also had like a talent round. So same, we had the talent round in Harry International as well. And this was my second time I was given the opportunity to showcase my talent. So I always have this love for Bollywood. So I would imitate a lot of Bollywood actresses, their facial expressions, the way they dance, and even music. I was so interested in like mixing the music, how they're gonna sound like. So I finally get like a really big platform to showcase that. So it started from Harry International and then moving on to Miss Nightingale. So Johor was actually seeing more of what I was capable of, and I was actually more than happy to show others that, you know, this is who I am, this is where I'm from, and this is my talent. So please accept it with your most open heart. So, and it was fun. We had a glamour stage at the grand finale. It was held at the Trove Hotel in Johor Bahru as well, and it was amazing. And I was um, I not only went not only went with one sash, but it began from this one. So it's a finalist sash that we get on the first day, and then these are the sashes that I got on the grand finale. So that's like four. It's like four. So the first sash that I got was Miss Beautiful Smile, and then followed by Miss Punctuality, Miss Choice Award, and then the last, Miss Nightingale Johor Beauty with the Heart. So I became another champion for Johor, and it was just crazy. It was just, you know, like really amazing to see my journey is actually going really deep. And I know that I started that pretty late, you know, because I know there's an age limit in pageants, and I'm 26 now, and when I first started I was 25, so which was last year. So but I'm not gonna let that stop me. So whatever platform that I get to actually showcase my talent and show the real person that I am, and actually help others out there gain their confidence, then I'm much more happy to do that. So uh, as competitions went by after Miss Nightingale, I went on, not as a beauty queen, but I journeyed into a model. So I started modeling, and it's the very first time I did, and I joined Smash, as I mentioned during like somewhere in the show that I met with Angel. So I joined Smash, and they gave me a modeling um, opportunity in JB. So I joined a lot of wedding fairs, you know, and I did like makeup competitions as well. So it was various competitions I did throughout this year. So the latest sashes that I've actually gotten this year is I was awarded JWF Model Search. So I was the second runner up, and it's pretty amazing. So I won I won third place for two model searches. One was in Angsana somewhere last year as well. I know, sorry, this year, somewhere this year. So it was in January. And then as it went on, I discovered a different platform. So this is more of an entrepreneuring platform, you know, if you want to venture into being a businesswoman, into being a boss babe. So I've always seen myself in that route. So I'm like, why not? You know, my mom, she pushed me, and she's like, why don't you try this, you know, instead of just going for the same thing, you know, just modeling, you know, why don't you try for this platform? So it was a competition called Loft Babe. So it's LOFT BABE, Loft Babe, and it was organized by Loft Affair. So, and in that competition, it was much more different because you were to actually showcase yourself in a very different aspect. So it's like how social can you be with other people, and how creative can you be, you know, individually. And they were actually looking for someone who was very unique. And to be honest, everyone, each and every one of the contestants, we were all unique in our own way. So there was the subsidiary title round, and I least expected to be actually crowned as their first ever winner, Love Babe. So this is the sash, Love Babe, and this is the name of the organization. It's a loft affair. So it's a all women empowerment organization. I am yet to learn more about them, and they have given me so much of experience, and I am still with them till today. And it's just amazing, you know, where each and every competition can actually take me to. So far my journey from being a beauty queen to model, and then now as a businesswoman, it's just overwhelming, yes, but it's growing to like a different aspects. And I am very, very interested and intrigued to know more about how my life is gonna go. So even after like winning all these competitions, I feel like, you know, I still have something that I'm yet needing to achieve. So I'm still not quite there yet. So um, I am hoping that I'm actually able to showcase my designer side, because I am a fashion designer by profession. Um, so I would like to showcase that as well. So I'm kind of finding a really good platform to actually start that off. So hopefully I do find the right path for that. So my future plans and goal, yes, definitely would be starting my own businesses. So I already have like my how do you say, like it's like a board that I created. So I don't want to be just associated with one, but I want to be with multiple. So I am always going to be busy with something. And so far right now, I'm planning to have my own advocacy. So it's like advocacy for women out there who is having trouble with gaining confidence in themselves. So I've actually wrote like a short description of it. So I will be working with someone really close on this, and hopefully, if I'm truly blessed, I can get this advocacy out. And my highest achievement would definitely be uh, to actually stand on stage as a Malaysia Miss Universe representative. So it's a very big goal. I know there's a lot of commitment, there's a lot of things that I need to do in order to get up to that platform, and I am just trying to find help, and you know, from every direction possible. Water break. So even like with Harry International, you know, it's never ending, you know, even though it's going to be a year now with them, but I'm still contributing my experience. You know, I'm teaching catwalk as well to models and also beauty queens, you know, locally. So I'm planning to grow in that as well. So not only just sit as a model, but just keep going, you know, just never stop. So that is it, and it is now 10:26. So are you guys ready to start your Q&A with me? So can I have the first question, please, while I try to take a sip of water? Questions, guys? Any questions? What are your plans for next year? Hi, Bernie. So this is Vernisa Chong. She's one of my besties in uni life, and she just had a baby. Congratulations to her. So my plans for next year, definitely be setting up myself for my businesses and coming out as a fashion designer. Any other question, guys? Don't be shy. I don't bite. I know I just talk and talk and talk, but it's who I am today. So, like I said, I'm very casual with everyone today. So, I'm always casual. Questions? Anybody else? Okay, good to hear that. Thank you. Anyone else? Can I have some questions? No questions? Are you guys shy? Don't be shy, please. You can ask me anything, it doesn't have to be um, related to pageant. It can be something personal or just something you want to know about me. What is my favorite color? Black. Recent favorite is the color nude. So I'm wearing nude today, so I find it's a very uh, intricate color. It blends well with different kind of styles. You can wear it casual, you can wear it formal. So any questions, guys? What is my favorite movie? What is my favorite food? Are you guys trying to find like difficult questions for me to answer? Hi, Mel. How are you? I am great. I am great, great, great. How are you doing today? Have you had your dinner? How confident were you in winning on your pageantry? Um, like I've mentioned, I was not that confident, but because of how hard I actually studied and um, looking at that questions, I'm like, okay, how can you actually answer this in a very spontaneous way? Something that's very general. So, I just felt like if I'm going to answer this question confidently, I just did not look in anyone else's eyes. I just pretend like no one was there. So, and I just speak my heart out. So the most important thing to be confident when you're doing your Q&A, um, and winning the pageantry as well is to just, pretend and actually accept yourself to be the most glorious woman on earth, and actually just enjoy the moment, because it's something big, and I'm pretty sure that it will be a memorable experience. So besides being confident, it's a lot of mixed feelings. So Vernie, plans on further future business into going international? Yes, definitely. But I'm trying to focus on the local market first. So I'm trying to get the local love from the people here, and slowly work my way up to being international as well. So I'm going to use every platform that I have been given and actually showcase in that way. Hi Melvin, how do you manage your time? Um, okay, time. It's a very big question, but currently I am a full-time model, so time is like diamonds to me, and what I always do is I just schedule everything, like what I'm going to do today and what event is happening when, so I know that when I should prepare for what. So hi Miss Mel, what is the definition of best catwalk? Sorry, you are not a dictionary to answer, but from your own opinion. What is the definition of best catwalk? Okay, definition of best catwalk. I always carry these three principles. So I created these principles. It's called PAC, PAC. So P is for posture, A attitude, and C confidence. So when I have all these three, that's your best catwalk there. Because if you don't have a really good posture, your body is bending in a very different way, you are not comfortable being in those heels. So having a really good posture really affects the way you walk on stage. And if you have the right facial expression, the right attitude, what are you actually trying to tell people? Like, are you this girl who is just very flirtatious? Is she like very bubbly? What sort of vibe are you actually going to give up on stage? And then confidence. If you are not afraid of what you are actually going to bring on stage, then that is actually a really good confidence booster. So if you're gonna be overthinking, like, should I walk like this way, should I, like, I'm afraid I'm going to mess up the choreography, that is going to actually affect it really badly. So PAC, posture, attitude, and confidence, this three is the very definition of having a best catwalk. I like how you talk actually really clear. Thank you. One of my favorite things to do is actually um, learn how to articulate your speech. So when I'm home, I speak differently, but when I'm going about my career, I have my own professional way of speaking. So I'm still working on that. I know there's a bit of a flaw here and there, but who doesn't have? So yes. how how you got to know about Harry International audition in JB Forest City? Yes. So I actually came across this post by Harry International somewhere in April 2019. I was working in a mall, and I just went through I don't remember, was it Facebook or Instagram, that I saw this post, and it said first grand audition of Miss, Mrs. and Mr. Hit Johor 2019. So I'm like, okay. So I didn't really know anything about Harry. I never actually had such contact before. So this is my very first time, and that's how I actually start learning more about Harry International. Hi Aka, you looking great. What is your best advice to the new finalists? So okay. Okay, I'm going into a very teenage mood. Okay, I'm actually very excited to be a part of the current Miss, Mrs. and Mr. Hit Malaysia 2020, and it's just very exciting to know that I'm going to be at the finals watching you guys. And as I've said in one of my class with you guys, most important thing is be proud of who you are and of what you can become. You know, if you give your 100% in what you actually want to do, then I'm pretty sure, you know, it's just going to blossom in a very beautiful way. So if you have chosen this platform, you know, if you have chosen to be a part of Harry International family, you've chosen to be a beauty queen, then there's a lot more coming your way. So if you're able to actually go about all these obstacles that's going to come, you know, throughout your competition, then, you know, it's no more than strong will that I can say. You know, so if you have that level of confidence, it can actually beat any other thing. You know, if you feel that you are the most greatest out of all the contestants, that you have all my blessings to do so, because it's not wrong to feel that way, because it's a competition after all. And yes, we are still pageant sisters, but don't forget that you are in it for yourself. You know, you want to be someone who you never thought you would ever be. So once you step into the pageantry and also the modeling world, it's just another, I would say it's just another era for you. You know, you would actually see a lot of room of improvement. You know, you never thought, you would never actually imagine that you can do this, you can do that. So there's a lot of chicha men today. Okay. Hi Ravin. So guys, I hope I actually answered most of your questions. Any other questions? Please feel free to ask. Oh, and another advice for the finalists. Actually, all the finalists, if you are a Miss, Mrs. or Mister, um, I am actually more intrigued to see you guys, you know, give your 100% on stage, because I know this is going to be very different. And I expect each and every one of you to bring it, you know, to show what Malaysia is truly is, you know. And I I am just, you know, praying that, you know, the event would actually go smoothly. And my greatest advice to you guys is please give your full commitment in this. You know, if you are not serious about this, then you know, you're just wasting your time. So please take this to a very high account and actually give your all. So question, did the titles is aligned with your dream or something that you're looking forward? Okay, the titles, your dream or something that aligns with your dream or something. Okay, actually, the titles are various, so there's different. So pageantry, modeling, and also entrepreneur. So I've been given like 3 different opportunities, so they definitely do align in a certain way, which I actually created the line there. So I said, um, if I have this amount of experience, even though it's very little, I'm still considered as a newcomer. And so if I have the experience of winning 2 pageants, I've won certain like multiple modeling competitions, even makeup competitions as well. And then from moving on to a different entrepreneurial competition. So I have brought them to a, how you say, like a line where each and every one of them actually makes sense and they are responsible for one another. So if I have the experience in this, so why not I turn it into a way where I can share this experience with other people? So I became an entrepreneur in that sense. So I started giving out instead of just taking. I felt like I'm never going to be done with competitions, but I know that I am still capable of giving people what they need. So yes, definitely I have turned all of these titles into one, which is becoming a teacher. So I hope that actually answered your question. Chicha man fight partner. Yeah, I actually live in an estate, so there's a lot of insects here and especially a lot of chicha. But I am not afraid of them, so excuse me for a bit. So any other questions, you guys? It's already 10:43. Is there anything else you would like to know? Any other question, guys? Okay, I'm gonna give another maybe 3 more minutes for the Q&A, and if there's no other questions that you guys would like to ask me, um, I would like to end the show for today. So I hope you guys actually had a entertaining time tonight. Any other questions? I am still accepting questions at this moment. Krish Tila. Hi, Miss Tila. Hi, Melvin. Can you share your experience as a trainer in Hits Agency? How you find the opportunity? Oh, it was amazing. The opportunity was such where it actually was raised during the audition of Miss Hit Malaysia in Johor. Miss and no, actually Miss, all 3 categories actually in Johor, and I was there alongside all the queens, and I was given this opportunity to have like a give a class to the female contestants, and it was really great. So I actually shared my experience in catwalking and specifically teaching them, what sort of rules that I created for myself when I was up on stage as a hit pageant queen as well. So they were fun to be around with. There was like so many different personalities, and um, uh, I know they must have felt the pain, but I did tell them that, this is what it's meant to be. um, as a beauty queen. Nothing comes easy. I was trained like this as well. So I was not only trained by Ramesh, but I was trained by the agency in JB as well, Smash. So there was a lot of training. I had to do a lot of learning. So the same thing I actually shared with all the girls there, and they had to digest at very different stages, but they were not afraid, and I was very surprised to see that level of confidence in my very first class. So I'm actually hoping to get another opportunity like this. So I do have my own locally established classes here as well in JB. So that was my very first time having a class in KL, and especially for Harry Internationals. So hopefully I actually do get more chances like this to work with Harry International, and not just being a trainer, but something else as well. Yes, Miss Mel, thanks for sharing. I'm Mrs. Hit 2020. Hi, yes, Janet. Hi, Janet. Yes, I do remember every contestants that were at the class. And I remember how painful it was for every one of you. But as I've said, if you don't teach yourself to be disciplined now, because being a pageant queen, you need to be very disciplined. You need to be on time, you need to make sure that, you are completing all the tasks. And even carrying a very big personality as a beauty queen is a very heavy task, and I am still doing it till today. Um, even though I am not only a beauty queen, even as a model as well, I am still carrying that personality. So, can you share your thoughts? What is the big problem in modeling fields, if any? Big problem in modeling. Well, I would say it's different um, in certain stages. So I would say that currently there is lack of opportunity. You know, because of such restrictions. Sometimes you are not tall enough. Sometimes you are not up to the client's standard. So and there is a lot of like I would say that models who are not only very confident with themselves, so they kind of struggle a lot trying to find who they are and where they actually belong. So the biggest problem I would say is just the restrictions in the competitions as well. So, and being sometimes, you are too old, that can be a factor. So age definitely is a factor. Like I've mentioned, I started when I was 25, now I'm 26. So, but if being a model is what I'm actually going to be for the rest of my life, so there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. There's a lot of commitment as well. So you need to take care of yourself, health wise. You need to be very well maintained, I would say, and not letting go of the dreams. So it was an awesome experience for my girls too. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Stella. Mel, what will be your advice for those who only walk away with normal title compared to beauty queen title? So, okay, this is my personal opinion. So, you don't have to wear a crown to be a queen. You don't need a title to prove that you are a queen. If you can think, you can act like a queen, then you are a queen. You don't need um any sort of like credentials for that. You don't need like basically any sort of certificate to say that you are a queen. So you can be a queen in every sort of way. So, but if you were to walk away in a grand finale just with a runner-up sash, it's okay. Maybe this sash will bring you forward to a much bigger opportunity. I have actually come across where there are competitions where I wasn't the champion, but I was the second runner-up. You know, when I got the title, I was like, it's okay. You know, and sometimes it can be disappointing, like, if you have been like getting a title for a very long time, and then suddenly, you just get a title that really disappoints you, but you've actually gave your all. So sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes what the judges are actually looking for, it's maybe not what uh, to they expect. So you can never really put a say in this. So if it's meant for you, it's meant for you. If it's not, it's not. So but what you can actually learn from is that, just never back down. Take it as a challenge. Keep going forward, and just say that, if I'm a runner-up, fine with it. you know if you can see, like, all those contestants that actually appear on television, and they have so much of potential. You know for the fact that they have the potential to be crowned as the winner, but they don't. So you can see that disappointment in their face, but it is not up to them to say that the judges actually did a wrong thing. So it is what it is. If they feel like, this contestant, she was actually giving more to what they wanted, then yes, she deserves to be a champion. But don't forget, if you still have that title, then they still considered you in this. You have a potential. Even if you don't have a title, it's fine. You actually fight and struggle through this competition, and you are still a queen. The fact that you are in that competition is already making you a queen. Yeah, so that is the mindset that you should carry when you step into pageantry, or if you step into any sort of competition as well. So yeah, it's a very long explanation. Okay, thank you, Tila. Thank you so much for all your advices. Congratulations, and all the very best to you in your future plans. Thank you. That was great. Thanks for sharing, PAC. Yes, you are welcome. It's going to be very handy. Trust me. It's uh, there's actually a lot of definitions, and there's a lot of rules that would actually, I would say rules, like characteristic that make a queen and a king. When I shared in my class with the Miss and Mrs. Hit Malaysia 2020 finalists, I told them, I showed them, you need to have this, you need to have this, you need to have this. There's a lot. You need to be beautiful, you need to be strong, you need to be able to walk, you need to be able to get back up when someone tells you something. So there's a lot of things that makes a queen and a king. So instead of focusing on all that, I just like compile everything and put it into three. So if you can have a great posture when you're on stage, that makes you a queen and a king. If you can have a good attitude on stage, that makes you a good queen and a king. If you have that confidence, then that makes you the most powerful king and queen. So PAC, very simple and easy to remember. So this applies to everyone. Doesn't matter if you're a newcomer or if you're a reigning queen or king. This actually helps. I take it to every competition that I go, and whenever I take a first step on that staircase going up on the stage, I remember PAC, and then I go for it. So it's just like taking a one big deep breath. So it's just counting 3, 2, 1, and then you go. So instead of just focusing too much on what and what you shouldn't do, you just give yourself that 3 and you are just good to go. So what else? Hi, Darshini. Well said, sweetheart. All the best for your future undertaking. Thank you, Miss Stella. Your your execute you execute the sessions well, Neil. Thank you. Okay, guys. So, oh, okay. It is already 10:57 p.m. And if there are no more questions, I would like to end my talk show for tonight. So I would like to say thank you everyone so much for tuning into my live tonight. It was an awesome opportunity to share my experiences and my knowledge. And I'm truly grateful for all my friends and family who has been and still supporting me throughout my journey and throughout my outrageous career. And I am giving a special shout out to Harry Internationals for giving me this, sorry, not only me, but to all the kings and queens of Harry Internationals for this wonderful platform. So, this is Malveen Kaur, your host, signing off.